Welcome to Wickerson Studios. I think we're up and running. 4 or 5 seconds in. What I have going on here is I chose to make a very simple lattice script. I'm making architectural parametric digital assets. Maybe not architectural, but it's basically GPT into GhPython node. There you go, I'll simplify it. That's what I'm making, and it's pretty nice stuff. So for those interested, how am I writing these scripts in Rhino Common? Well, I'm writing them in the most efficient way possible. Just 30 some odd lines of script to produce a kind of lattice work that works out of this one node. Saves you a lot of spaghetti and it saves you a lot of clustering data. Everything's packed away into these really nice little nodes. And you can see the script right here, which I'll offer to you. And then with that, you can make it as parametric as you want. They move pretty fast considering they're going through subdivision, but you can always turn your subdivision off and run it just through the curves to see how fast this is actually flowing. And then you can play around with a lot of these things. So as I change the scale, I can move that and see how it alters in its lattice. I can move this to its X spacing, which is going to influence it. I can bring it right down to 0. And the number, I can bring it flat, or I can jive that up. You'll see you start to lose the lines as they stretch too long. They kind of snap and become not really necessary for the lattice because they break. So that's a really nice little thing. And then I have a frequency which will undulate and change it. And you can find some really nice patterns within there through the trigonometry to get some nice forms. And of course, you can do things further with this. It wouldn't take anything to move this through an iteration and a rotation up and make much more complex lattices that move fairly quickly. The other thing I've done is I've divided my my rotation angles. And if I wanted to have them by maybe 2, you'll see that it changes the data. It will start to lose information as I move it through more because it's simply, say we had 6 and I'm pulling that through 30, 60, 90, but you can change those angles as well. You can change those, so let's move them down to 15 and see what we end up having. So you have really good control over a really nice parametric GhPython node for producing lattice. And I've written that for you, and I've guarded against a few absurdities because the script doesn't have exceptions, doesn't throw exceptions. So it will bust on you and crash if you're not careful. How did I write that? I wrote that through many iterations. This one to start, this one before that, and this one to start with at the beginning. So points and lines. So if you thought about those lines with these lines, they could be interesting together. This is the one that I actually really liked. This kind of sense of what is going on there? How is that lattice being constructed? And as soon as I made that, I went back to ChatGPT and I said, let's jive this up and make something more complex. And that's exactly what it did for me. So a matter of minutes to write 30 lines of code to give you a piece of lattice work that you can take farther in as curves and drive some much more, I want to group that, wanted to enable it. That's it. I just want to take off that group. So that's it. Nice and easy. GhPython 4 and do a pretty nice fast moving script for subdivision of undulating curves and writing it. The script is here. It's attached. It's not very hard to figure out. You're writing a input parameters which will allow you to know how to set your node, and you're generating the lattice points through a pretty simple math cosine and sine angle function, generating those points, and then you're generating the lines from those points. And all you have to do is have a few parameters in there to make it a little interesting. You don't have to download math along with Rhino geometry. So that's it. Have fun with it. It'll be up on wickersonstudios.com, and I'll move on to the other one that I'm doing. The other one that I did is the Klein bottle, and I can show you some paradoxes and problems with the Klein bottle, just in the sense of what it is as an object. Okay, so stop recording.